Oh, this is you?
Oh, God.
You're a princess? Spoiled and pampered all day, but then there's another side to the princess role. And that is, you're a princess by day and a slut by night.
Yes! I feel seen.
Oh my God.
Princess by day, slut by night. I'm going to
Did
put
you
that on.
read this?
I'm going to put that on my email signature.
Please don't.
Before we start, how do you say
Sadomasochism.
Sadomasochism.
Yeah.
Sadomasochism.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to this week's Just Another Group Chat. It's going to be an interesting one. If you're ever going to watch one on YouTube, it's probably going to be this one because we're probably going to be giggling like a little bit and stuff.
Like ridiculous.
What we're talking about today, Laura?
Sex and dominance.
So, because our podcast, one of the podcasts we did was on sex, and we kind of thought, oh, we'll do another one. And the part 2 became part 3 and part 4 and so on. So we've kind of categorised it off, and today we're going to be talking about dominance within the sex world. What does it mean? What does dominance mean?
It's having the control and power over someone or something else.
So yeah, that's what I got from my Google Notes.
I also Google noted it.
Did you?
I did.
Power or authority over the other person in the relationship or person that you're sleeping with or having sex with or whatever.
My idea of abject hell.
Really?
Having the power.
Having the power.
Or having the power.
Mm-hmm.
You like, so you're, what we'll come to is known as a submissive.
Yes. 100% all the time.
All the time?
All the time.
Oh, yeah.
Just in the bedroom or in everything?
Just in the bedroom.
I was going to say,
Oh
yeah.
God, she's not submissive in
No, I was
life.
going to say, yeah.
But that is why.
Yeah.
Because I am dominant in so many other areas in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be bothered to be dominant in bed. I don't want to be dominant in bed.
Yeah.
And you would never switch?
Nah.
Not even now and again?
Nah.
Not even after you've had like a few porn star martinis and...
See, that's me. I'm like 90% of the
girls.
time. But then there's that odd few times that I'm like, meh.
Feeling a little bit. Porn star.
Feeling a little... No, more just feeling a little bit cheeky and dominant.
I feel cheeky.
Aye.
Oi, sailor. But I don't even initiate sex.
It's the whole, like, do you not really ever?
No.
It's the whole, like, always being told what to do. Sometimes I'm like, no.
I'm like, somebody
Like a
fucking
brat.
please.
Yeah. So there's a thing. There's a list.
I know.
Hannah knows. Of course Hannah knows.
I'm like, somebody please tell me what to do.
So, but
Don't make me make another decision.
I did a quiz, ready for today, and I'm the brat.
I could say that, to be honest.
Could you? Oh, right, yeah, I'm a brat.
I would love to know what I am.
Have you done a quiz?
No, but I would say I was probably a brat, to be fair.
You're going to be a brat. Do you think?
No, I don't...
Just a total submissive.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Not to do the quiz.
What does BDSM stand for?
It's a category of porn. I know that much.
It is like...
I don't know what it stands for. Sadomasochism, I imagine.
So, bondage, discipline,
Yeah, right.
I was going to say
dominance,
big dick.
submission, and sadomasochism. I knew I wouldn't be able to say it. I checked it.
Sadomasochism.
Thanks. I'm not going to try.
Go on.
You'll take the mic.
You can do it, I believe.
No, I can't.
Go on.
Kim, you are an intellectual. You can do this.
Tortured. So, BDSM, is that like dominant? Like, come on, tell us your kind of like feelings and thoughts on dominance, BDSM, all that kind of stuff. Is it the same thing? Is it like...
Nah, I think it's like, to me, it's two separate things, because you can have a dominant and submissive within a relationship without it being like
BDSM.
yeah, that's more like pain and...
So,
to my understanding.
So when I did a little bit of reading about this, bondage, discipline, dominance, submission, and
Sadomasochism.
sadomasochism.
You did it.
Thanks. This is COVID, you know. I've got anyone out there got COVID brain, because I have really bad. Yeah.
That's the thing.
So apparently, even if you are just more dominant or more submissive, that is part of BDSM.
Oh.
So they're not separated. It's just that some people only enjoy certain parts of BDSM.
Right, okay.
So you only enjoy the S of the BDSM.
This.
None of the other bits.
Yes.
So apparently it's all under the same category.
Yeah, well, there's different levels, isn't there? To like bondage and things, from like handcuffs to like full on.
Like whips and ties and gags and that.
Yeah.
And like being fucking suspended from the ceiling and shit. Like,
Have you ever been suspended?
I haven't, no.
I don't believe you.
Yet. I haven't.
All
but-
applicants, please email.
Instagram is. No, so there's that element of it, and then obviously the pain element of like, you know, from like.
That's the sadomasochism.
Yeah.
Pain.
The pain and pleasure idea and stuff like that, and yeah, there's levels to it, but I mean it's quite a big community.
It's a rather large community.
Yeah.
There is many websites. If you're going to look, different actual communities and like forums and people speaking and getting together and all that.
Kinks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You ever found yourself on Kink Tok?
What?
Kink Tok.
What's that?
TikTok.
Is there something called Kink Tok? There's not.
There is.
Is it a porn site?
No.
It's just a branch of TikTok.
It comes up with all the porn sites.
Well, this is true.
No.
Don't tell
All right, this is Spice
We're
Alert.
not getting.
We're not getting sponsored.
This podcast is sponsored by.
Kink Tok.
BigDicksRUs.com.
What is Kink Tok?
So it's, well, you know, you've got like sections of TikTok that are like, so you've got like boob talk, for example, or like clean talk, or may not love
Clean
that.
talk.
Oh, yeah.
When you've got Kink Tok, and you have like people on there who are part of the community who talk about things like aftercare and stuff like that. And
Aftercare?
yeah.
Like what do you mean?
Well, if you're standing on somebody's balls with a pair of slivers on,
yeah, if you're in a scene with someone and it's, you know, like it's intense or whatever, you need to, there needs to be that recalibration afterwards. Of
I'm like, what do you mean by aftercare?
Well, some people like to be cuddled, some people don't. Some people like to have a bath, some people don't. Some people like to be intimate with somebody, you know what I mean? If you're like,
all right.
it's like a whole different language, really, isn't it?
It's a whole another
not
world,
to
isn't it?
somebody about the bedroom, and then, you know, you want to be reminded that actually the person you're with still cares about you or still loves you or whatever.
So I had a little look into this, and interestingly, it said that there's like different types of relationships, and some people in the community, like how do you get into it and what have you, and there's like usually it starts with a contract.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was like, that's very 50 Shades of Grey.
I was just going to say
Yeah,
50 Shades of Grey style.
So yeah, but apparently that's like a real thing. You normally have to talk about like safe words and other bits and bobs, and
Like your limits and
you talk about the consent, like of everything. So it's a full contractual conversation before you even do anything.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah,
interesting.
I think,
Sorry.
I think when you think about the massive arguments around consent, we need to make that more a part of sex full stop.
Oh yeah.
And like we spoke before on other sex podcasts about the fact of how important it is to talk, sometimes to talk to each other about what you like, what you don't like, and so why should that only be? I think that needs to become more mainstream and not a contract, obviously. But that needs to come back into the mainstream from that
Do you think?
community, I think.
Because I looked at this and I thought, I think you can still be quite dominant, but still ask rather than dominate.
Oh yeah, there's
Do you know what I
ways
mean?
to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah.
language that you use and stuff. But I mean, ultimately, like, I guess I've never been in a dominant submissive relationship. I have thought about it
Yeah.
several occasions.
Has anybody put a contract in front of you?
No. But if I, like, you get that all out of the way, because then when it comes to actually, like, they're called like scenes or like whatever. When it comes to actually doing that, if
When
somebody,
you say, sorry, explain, because I'm a novice.
what a scene.
Wait, I am a beginner completely to all of this. I've got no idea. So,
Well, it's just like a fantasy. It's just like acting out, and so you might act out.
like actually doing the deed.
Yeah, but I guess there's things that they might, like, the dominant might get the submissive to kneel or like
Right. Okay.
perform certain things or do certain things to exert control, etc. I'm talking like I'm a proper expert, and
Yeah,
I'm not.
you are.
I love it.
I'm
I
just-
am fascinated.
I am as well. I'm really fascinated.
But like so if somebody gets a flipping paddle out or something and flipping whacks you over the arse with it, and you hadn't discussed it first,
Right, yeah.
that's gonna ruin the mood.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna be like, what the fuck are
to
you
be-
doing?
to be
Whereas
fair,
if
yeah.
that's been a hard limit from the get-go, they'll know not to do that.
We've all been there where somebody's done something when you're sleeping with them and you're
And you
like,
go, oh no.
nah, no thank you.
Yeah.
So why? So again, I think it's good
It
to
makes
discuss
sense.
discuss
It
it,
makes
yeah.
total sense. Like, kind of think most relationships start like this now. Let's talk about the contract before we do anything. This is what I do like. This is what I don't like. Do this. Don't do that. Definitely don't do this.
Yeah. Because
Sign here, please.
everybody's...
Sign here, please, and then I'll go on a date with you.
And the thing is, everybody's different.
Yeah.
So what I find marvellous, you might be like, absolutely no way.
Mm-hmm.
So how is the other person meant to know that if you don't talk about it?
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's about contracts, checklists, communication, all these kind of different things. And then finding out, you just said hard limits. What's that?
So hard limits are like things that you will not do.
So like
you will
just
absolutely not do. Then you've got like soft limits, which I think, don't quote us on this, but I think it's where you're open to it. You've never tried it before, but you'll
So
try
if it feels
it.
right
but-
at the time.
Yeah,
thing.
then that's fine. But if it's not, then you won't.
It's quite
Do it
complex,
again.
isn't it?
Yeah.
The media kind of portray BDSM as a bit of a negative thing. Like we've just done it there, like, oh no, I like to be submissive, but I don't like BDSM.
Yeah.
Like because they portray BDSM as this negative violence kind of
Creepy, flipping latex
Yeah.
from head to toe, gimp mask.
Yeah.
yeah.
On a lead and that.
Yeah, and I think there was a lot of controversy, wasn't there, when things like 50 Shades of Grey came out about, oh, he's a controlling partner, and actually there was a lot of like, oh, it's actually domestic abuse and all the rest of it. What's your thoughts on that?
So interestingly, I just a little bit of like research beforehand, and like do you mean in terms of 50 Shades of Grey?
Yeah, just the way the media portrays everything, I guess.
The way the media portrays it.
And I mean, interestingly, it's one of the best sold books ever.
I don't know why, because it was absolutely shocking.
I didn't read
Right
it.
and wise.
Did I read the book?
Yeah.
I think I read the first book and that was it.
Like,
Yeah, Addy could have written it, to be fair.
yeah,
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't very well written.
it's terrible.
And then there's the film and everything. Obviously, there were some people that were like religiously going back to see the film and going back to see the film. And then there's like a second. Wasn't there like a second and a third? And,
Oh yeah, there's like
yeah.
3 or 4.
yeah. So, interestingly, I think that opened the conversation to it,
Yeah.
didn't it? And there was a lot of women all of a sudden going, oh, that, quite fancy a bit of that. But we're open to then talking about it when maybe they might not have previous to.
I think it broke
like,
down.
anything that.
Yeah, I think it broke down a lot of boundaries around it, because I think I think it allowed people to admit that was something that they enjoyed, whereas before it was all a bit taboo and it was
Yeah.
like, oh well, you can't admit that because whichever kind of dominant or submissive you were, there was always negative
Oh,
connotations.
you're a bit weird, like.
Yeah, it was
Oh, you're
like
a
a
bit
massive
kinky,
kink,
like,
yeah. Whereas I think it made it more mainstream, and I think it's interesting the way the media portrayed 50 Shades, because yes, they were in a dominant submissive relationship, but outside of the bedroom, he treated her as if she was made of glass.
Oh, yeah.
Like he didn't in any way, in my eyes, domestically abuse her. Like that was all because they spoke about it. It was contractual. It was, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, blah, 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 blah. So once the sex had finished, he was like, he absolutely idolised her. So to me, it's just the media just taking a bullshit spin on things and making things that they aren't.
It's a level of investment, isn't it? Like from one person to another in terms of like that relationship, because you do watch that and you think, God, he is obsessed with her. To the point where he has to like control the situation. Do you know what's really weird? Did anybody see The Fall?
Yes.
No.
I did.
Oh,
So-
Han.
Right, so so you're saying like, oh my God, what a guy in The Fall.
And he's a murderer.
Yeah. How mad is this? I remember watching 50 Shades of Grey and being like, yeah, this is kind of good. I do fancy him a little bit. Then I watched The Fall and I was like, oh my God, this guy, run the bath for me. 'Cause,
Yes?
Yeah, that would be like, sorry, someone gets drowned in the bath.
Oh, I thought you meant like, just run the bath for me.
Just run
I'm
the
good
bath.
at getting it. Very dominant of you. Run that bath for me.
No. I remember being at the time thinking, and then I spoke to the crew who worked on The Fall, and they were telling me about how when it was Jamie Dornan who was playing the main character, he's a murderer and spoiler alert.
Spoof alert.
Doesn't work anymore.
You're a spoof.
You're a fucking big spoof.
Oh God. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched The Fall, they basically, when he was like at home with his family, just doing his everyday life, what have you, they really dulled him down makeup wise and lights wise and camera wise. They dulled all of his kind of complexion and
His
everything
natural
down.
goddamn beauty.
You know, then when they had him like killing or in the like kind of heat of the moment of really actually killing someone, it sounds so messed up. They like made him look beautiful,
Which is not hard.
When you watch it, you genuinely are like, I really fancy him. But it's the weirdest.
As it's like strangling someone.
Yeah, yeah.
Like games.
But the way the makeup team did it, anyway, I just thought it was really, really
Oh,
interesting.
That is very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
But I was more, I've seen both 50 Shades of Grey and The Fall, and I was much more attracted, same as you.
In The Fall?
In The Fall.
Yeah.
When he's an actual psychopath. Which probably says more about me than it does James
watch
Dornan.
it now.
I think you need to watch
Oh,
it.
you do, because Gillian Anderson is chef's kiss in it as well.
Yeah.
She is amazing. You will really fancy Gillian Anderson in The Fall.
She's amazing.
But there's
I did a little bit.
yeah, it was really interesting the way they did it. I thought they just really kind of made him like look amazing and sexy and gorgeous where he was like in the height. And they said they used better lighting and all sorts of trickery. But I thought that was quite interesting. There's different types of like DOMs. Is that what you call them?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like pleasure doms, and that's the only one I know because that's the one that sounds the most fun.
So there's a top,
Oh yeah.
which is like the person who gives the orders. There's a DOM. So
Is it
they'll
top and a
follow
dom not the same
instructions. No, the main difference between the DOM and the top is neither will follow instructions given by somebody else. It's very complex.
Is it top more in homosexual relationships, like
Yeah.
gay relationships?
But there must be a top within BDSM as well.
Yeah, no, there's a top.
As in
within
top
BDSM,
dog,
yeah.
not physical top.
So yeah, it's about who gives orders or who kind of
Follows, yeah.
yeah.
Who
So
holds the whip?
there's master or mistress, and they have slaves. So you have to be a slave if you're a master.
I
or
know
mistress.
someone, friend of the podcast, who will remain nameless, who was engaging in a sexual act, in a homosexual sexual act with another man, and he stopped halfway through and said, "Can I please call you master?"
Today.
Mm-hmm.
How did friend of podcast think of this?
I
What did
think
he
he
do?
told him to fuck off.
Did he?
Yeah, and get out because
It
it made him feel really
really
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable.
Can I call you master?
That's
Out
why
of
you have a
nowhere.
contract. There's a pet
Oh no.
where
Oh.
they enjoy playing an animal role, a puppy
No.
or a kitten.
No.
They make animal sounds.
No.
And crawl around on all fours. They like being hand fed, petted, or wearing a collar.
No.
Not for you.
No, that's a hard limit.
I would rather. That's a hard limit for me. I'd rather sew it up.
And the next one you're gonna say babies.
It's good girl or good boy.
No. No.
Oh, I don't even want to go through it. It's like I won't talk about it because this is why we're here. This is why we're talking
Well,
about
that's it. And we're not shaming.
We're not
but
shaming,
It's
no,
just,
it's just
because
not-
it's quite
It's a
unique
it's
concept.
a niche.
That
Yeah,
you're-
it's very
you can't-
niche,
Yeah,
I
it is,
guess.
and it's. I think unless you're very, you've got
So that's it. This is
feelings about it.
yeah. So the little girl or little boy is a submissive to the daddy or the mommy.
I see a lot of that
So
where it's
dynamic.
like the daddy and the little girl. It's very rare you see a mummy and a
Mm-hmm.
little boy. Very rare.
It just
I say that as if I've seen them all in the entire world.
I
Doesn't
find
make
the
sense.
phrase little boy and little girl really uncomfortable.
yeah, it makes me
Because they only
uncomfortable.
associate that with
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
don't-
exactly.
Not attracted to children.
Yeah, yeah.
Like so, that's very. It's on the line.
It
It's
is.
very on the line.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, having mummy issues / daddy issues is something that runs through sexuality
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Freud would have it said.
Exactly.
There's one that I like. I quite like the sound of a princess, only because they said they love being spoiled and pampered all day. Basically, they just get pampered and treated.
Like a sugar baby.
Oh wait, though I've missed a bit. That's quite
Sugar
important.
baby, that's what I want to be. A sugar baby.
But then, this is you.
Oh God.
You're a princess,
Always.
spoiled and pampered all day. But then there's another side to the princess role, and that is you're a princess by day and a slut by night.
Yes! I feel seen.
Oh my god.
Princess by day, slut by night. I'm gonna
Do you
put that
know
on.
this?
I'm gonna put that on my email signature.
Please don't. Personal email signature only.
Head of
This is when the
sales
woman
slash.
This is when the woman loves to be completely cared for and treated like royalty by her dom, but at night, to thank him, she becomes the dirtiest slut she can imagine and loves every second of
Do you
it.
know what?
Sounds
That's
marvellous.
That's something I get on board with.
That's
That's me.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
amazing.
definitely something I get
100%.
on board with.
Brilliant.
I love it.
Laura, we've figured out your type.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your princess.
Princess slut.
Princess slut. Oh. I love it.
There's another one that's a brat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So a brat is
Like someone who doesn't do what they're told. Like if your dom gives you.
it's a daddy's sub, and a brat is a submissive who enjoys tailing back, misbehaving, generally being difficult in order to get attention or have their needs met.
I mean, we're talking about being seen. If I'm a princess slut. The brats, ladies and gentlemen. The brats.
The brat, we are right.
I like maybe.
Generally misbehaving. Fricka.
Oh, brats use phrases such as "Is that all you've got?"
If you don't put brat in your Tinder bio when you leave this room, I'm going to be really disappointed.
So who's to say it's not already in there?
I really hope it is.
It's not.
Oh, well, we'll figure what we are then.
Mm-hmm.
So
The Princess and the Brats.
looks
It's
like
not
Start a group.
a band.
Start a band.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So what's your experience of, or your kind of thoughts and experience of dominance within a relationship? I think. Laura, you go first.
I'm probably going to annoy, and I'm a lot of feminists and push feminism back about 100 years, because I really respond to a traditional male-female role
Okay.
in a relationship. Like, for
Expand
example,
on that for
the
us.
the unicorn refers to me as woman.
So he does. We know this.
So he'll go, woman! But I find it hilarious. But I know, and we were actually got to the point where we're out with friends, and one of his friends said, "Can you please stop doing that, because it makes us really uncomfortable." Yeah.
Really?
And I was like, "No, it's funny." And he was like, "No, it's really not." And I was like, "Oh
that's
wow."
awkward, isn't
Like
it?
it's really difficult because I know the unicorn and I like him a lot and he's a good guy and he treats you well,
Yeah, exactly.
but he just fucking kills me when he says that.
I love it though.
I know you do. So then I'm like, I'm kind of can make
Yeah.
peace with it because I know you're alright with it.
Yeah,
But
oh,
if
yeah,
someone
yeah.
said that to me, I'd rip his pubes off before he could say fucking feminist.
Yeah. And I'm very kind of like, I don't know, I like to have that typical female role in a relationship,
Yeah.
a caring one, the one who...
So, but you're also the most independent woman, like, ever. That you're not someone who's like, must go home and put tea on the table, like in that traditional kind
I don't
of...
do that, I can't cook for shit.
No.
Yeah.
But I think, so it's interesting, is it just kind of flirtatious sexual side of you that is more, I guess, is it that dominant side? Is it that kind of dominant submissive thing?
Yes, I think I've got dominant and submissive sides to me personally, in ways that, like, at work, within friendship groups, I'm quite dominant, I'm quite domineering. So, and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's natural, it comes natural to us. It's not like I force it, but it is exhausting. And sometimes you just want somebody else to make the decisions, somebody to tell you what to do, somebody to sort shit out.
Yeah.
So you can just be.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I've never ever been I've only one boyfriend that springs to mind was not that dominant partner.
What, like an alpha male?
Yeah,
type?
and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Because I was just like,
Yeah.
like, I'm attracted to that old-fashioned almost.
Yeah.
I am man.
Yeah.
I bring fire. You are woman.
I
you
will
bring
hit
tits.
you over head.
Yeah, I will
I
hit
think
you
you're
over head.
a woman, you bring tits.
I mean, they're not where they used
To
to be.
warm
when
by
they still were.
fire.
Yeah, to warm by fire. Yeah, but I'm like, maybe that's just carnal. Is that the right word?
Mm-hmm.
Like, emotion in me, that's what I'm attracted to.
Yeah.
I'm attracted to that.
Like, you
dynamic.
are, like, do you think that comes from, where do you think that comes from?
I don't know, because my mum and dad don't really have that kind of, they're quite equal. I would say. And so I don't have brothers and sisters, uncles, aunties, cousins. So I don't know. I think so that's what makes us think it's actually nature, because I haven't been conditioned that way. It's just kind of
there's been nothing in your environment that's kind of drawn you to be, I guess, that way. So Hannah, you're quite the opposite. Would you say?
Interestingly, I bite your hand off to be submissive.
Really?
Yeah. But I would say
that was really contradictory. And bite your hand off. Whoa.
I know.
To be submissive.
Well, that says it already.
Yeah.
But now, so when I was younger, I'm only from 33. When I was in my 20s, I was majority of the time I would be submissive with sexual partners and stuff. But now, or if I was going to be dominant, I would have been drunk.
Really? So I was going to come to that. We'll come back to that.
But now, I find it a lot easier to initiate sex and to be the dominant one when I'm sober.
So, actually, we'll talk about that now. Confidence. How do you think confidence affects your want or desire to be submissive or dominant? And I know we're just going through them too, because that's what our experiences are, I guess. So, how do you think confidence affects that?
I don't really think about it from a confidence. Have either of you seen me really, really drunk with the unicorn?
Once or twice.
Yeah.
Did you not know I go all and totally not how I am on the day to day, and I'm all and all ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's about confidence. I think it's just about when I'm drunk, I think you just lose your inhibition, and I allow myself to be that softer, more vulnerable maybe person.
Yeah.
Whereas I've got quite a lot of walls when I'm not intoxicated or in some way medicated.
And ultimately, you trust the unicorn, you feel safe with him, you know that he'll look after you. So
and he'll not take advantage of the fact that I'm being vulnerable.
Yeah, so there's that element to it as well, which I think is really important. You really have to whether you're being dominant or submissive, you really have to trust that other person.
I think it's just about trusting them to reveal who you really are, whether it be submissive or dominant. It's having that trust that you can be exactly who you are, and they are not going to use it to their advantage.
They're going to be pro-buzzing about it.
Yeah, which is the goal, really.
So do you think if you've had a few drinks or you're intoxicated or you're really drunk, you can switch? Is that a confidence thing for you? If you could,
it was when I was younger.
Was it?
Yeah, but now I'm more confident in what I want and what I like. And
so you would maybe kind of do that switch even if you weren't drunk? It wasn't like you couldn't because you weren't drunk enough and you didn't have the confidence?
Say that again?
So if you were younger, in that space where you think maybe you might want to be dominant, but you maybe didn't have the confidence to be. So when you're drunk, all of a sudden you've got the confidence to be, so that's when you are.
Yeah.
Was that the case?
That was the case.
But it's not anymore.
It's not the case anymore.
So now you just choose.
Now it's just however I feel.
So do you switch? Right.
Bizarrely, I'm completely different single to what I am in a relationship.
So single, what are you single?
I'm a lot more dominant.
Yeah.
Because I have a very...
It's confusing.
It is very confusing. I've been given the feedback from a very close person to myself that
the feedback?
No, I have. He sat us
You
down.
do hand out forms.
No, well, you can tell who it was. Sat us down and was like, Gorge, when you go out, you've got a definite fuck off vibe about you.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, you stand there in a bar and you look as if to say, and who are you, cretins?
Yeah.
Really?
So this is what I never, ever get chatted up. Ever.
Do you not?
Never get approached by men in bars. Never. So that's when I become dominant and do the whole, hello. But then to a certain point, and then because when I'm single, I don't allow myself to have that vulnerability.
Work from you going from seeing somebody and you being the dominant one to then you being like, I'm never dominant.
When I take me closer.
So there's so it's the lead up where you're dominant and then you're not. Okay, I see.
I'm almost dominant to get attention. Maybe I'm a tease. I'm almost dominant to get attention, and then when I get the attention, I'm like, actually,
Princess.
Princess. Yeah.
It's a slut pants. Do you have a
Someone spat in my mouth once.
I know this, but tell the listeners.
That's about as far, like, we were having sex and, like, he just spat in my mouth, like, full in my mouth.
Like, as a footballer would spit on a pitch.
Aye. Well, less hoggle, but just like that, straight in my mouth, and I was scared. Oh!
That's actually,
Oh!
isn't that like actually assault?
Well,
Yeah,
it's
it
just
is.
awful.
I mean, there's a difference between spitting on it and spitting
In it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if he'd spat in it, I'd probably be less upset if I'm spitting
Yeah.
in my mouth.
So I
Like,
just don't get. I think like that's like
it wasn't
actually,
sexy
like,
to me at all.
no,
And
it's assault.
the worst thing is, though, I didn't at the time pull him up on it until after we'd finished having sex because I didn't want to ruin the mood.
See, I've been there.
And I didn't hate myself for it after.
I've been
a lot of
there.
hatred coming from us. You can tell full moon in 2 days. Chaotic energy, 2 days.
That's why I'm so jagged.
Uh-huh.
Anyway.
I wish I'd said at the time, no. Like,
Yeah.
that's not okay.
Yeah.
But I was
I've had
like,
full relationships
I
where I haven't said to the end of the relationship that I didn't like it, and I mind the end of the sex.
I've been in a scenario where it wasn't discussed beforehand, but it was like, you know, a bit rough, what have you.
Yeah.
It wasn't, and then he slapped across the face.
Oh no.
And I was like, what the fuck did you just do? And then I was like, again, I didn't want to mention it, but I was a bit younger and stuff, and you just think, what the fuck? Mad, isn't it?
It's about, well, I think it's about what you with sort of dominance and going back to kind of that, because I think because dominance is very much interlinked with gender roles, or what I understand it to be.
Yeah.
I find that the conversation and the topic of dominance runs very much in heterosexual relationships. Like, I've read a little bit about same-sex relationships, and actually it's quite different and it's more fluid. So, you know, we were talking before about, obviously, as a bisexual woman, I will be more feminine with men, but I'll probably be more masculine with women.
Yeah.
Particularly if I'm physically bigger than them.
Well, that's weird because I'm the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with a girl, I'm quite a bit more feminine.
Oh, okay.
And then with a boy, I tend to be a bit more like Laura, like, nah,
Like a bit more
like
matchy, the
a
energy
bit more
sort of
like
thing.
just a lot more walls and a lot less, just like a bit more don't fuck with me.
Is that because you've been hurt by men more than women?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably because you trust women more than men.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you find it easier to be more vulnerable, and we're obviously in a very
Yeah.
like you live in a very woman dominated world.
Yeah, that's
anyway,
true,
like
yeah.
sisters and
Yeah,
everybody in here and stuff. So, but it's interesting how it seems to be a bit more fluid. Also, interestingly, what I read in terms of like gay relationships, there tends to be more. And I can't remember all of the statistics, but there tends to be a higher level of like intimate violence, because there's
I've heard that,
an underlying tension of
Who's
different-
alpha?
Yeah, who's alpha essentially,
right.
and different things
Interesting.
like that. Obviously not everyone, and this is very generalised, but just going back to dominance in heterosexual relationships, and can't remember what I was saying.
COVID brain happens to the best of us.
It's called the brain.
I think the point is consent, communication,
Very important.
vital.
Because that was it. So dominance in a heterosexual relationship, while I've got some notes, sorry. So about an equal and consensual exchange of power. So like the sub must consensually and willingly agree to submit, but they can take away that power from the dom at any time, which makes it equal.
Yeah.
Right, yes.
So you've got the dominant who will exert their control, but only if the submissive allows it. So that's where
Which in itself is a dominance.
that's where that's where the equality of that comes from, but it needs to be communicated, and there needs to be that consent there.
Yeah.
It's when you stop communicating is when it becomes
So
an
that's the
unhealthy
thing, 'cause
dominant relationship.
we're not going to be like, you know, I guess some people might, but people aren't going to be out there going, right, I'm just going to put this on my Tinder profile or whatever, like into this side of things, or I'm a princess, or I'm a brat, or whatever it might be, you know. Do they? All right, well, some people do. But if you're talking about it, the last thing I think you're going to do on a first date is be like, oh, here's the contract.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't really happen. What does happen is you might be out, you might go on a few dates, you might end up sleeping with them, and then you're in the moment, and like you said, you've been there, I've been there, haven't you been there? things happen and it's not discussed, my kind of point to make is, if you haven't discussed it beforehand and you want to do it, just ask there and then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, chances are I'm going to say no, but...
Can I spit in your mouth? Can I hit you in the face? Whatever it might be. Like, just...
honestly.
Just ask.
Yeah.
2022.
Because if that's the dynamic,
Yeah.
the chances are, if somebody wants you to do that, they will say yes.
Yeah.
If they don't, they will say no.
Yeah.
You're not going to get it.
And then move on.
Maybe just move on. Say no. All right, move on. Do something else.
Yeah.
One thing
Just
you should always ask, particularly this one's for the guys, if you're going to put your finger up our arse, ask her first. How many times have we all been caught out with that one? Oh, I fucking do. You know where it is?
I haven't.
Have you not?
Yeah.
I have several times.
I have.
Yeah.
I was actually...
Have you?
I slept with a guy and my friends nicknamed him Porky Bum Boy.
Oh, God. Because it kept walking me in the
Yeah.
That's even better than Princess Love Pants.
Porky
Oh,
Bum
wow.
Boy. That's what I called him.
Oh, well, there you go.
Shocking.
I mean, anything, if you're going to do really anything that is, like, not already being talked about or discussed or made consensual, just fucking ask.
Yeah.
Like, it's not hard, is it?
Yeah, it's really not hard. And to be fair, it's like, I saw something the other day that said, like, if you're willing to put his dick in your mouth, then you should be able to talk about your feelings.
Yeah.
And like, if you've got to the point where you are naked and intimate with someone, if you can't ask them a simple question, then you've got real issues. Either with yourself or with the relationship.
Laura, you've got an issue right now.
I know my strip lashes coming off.
Your lashes coming off.
I know.
Oh.
Lash Queen.
Lash
The
queen.
lash
Queen.
queen.
Just
Give
give
it,
it, this
give
is
it
a
a
first.
little press.
I
And
feel
then,
like this is breaking news. It's exclusive.
I know.
and then we'll be fine. Look, there you are, you're back. She's back.
Just because I'm doing everybody else's lashes, I've got time getting on.
Literally everyone in this office has your lashes on.
And he's me with my Primark strips on, but never mind. Woe is me. Jesus has been on the phone, he wants his crossbar.
Alright, really interesting then. I had no idea how vast this community and world was.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, everybody, I don't want to say cult, because that's the wrong thing, but it's quite like...
Subculture.
Yes, thanks,
Yes,
that's the right one.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Is that the only degree there?
And do you think, do you think, I don't know how, do you think it's like an underground world?
Yeah, I think 50 Shades did a lot for
Yeah.
the community in kind of bringing it more into the public eye and letting people know that people weren't like weird because they were part of that.
Yeah.
But I do still think it's quite taboo for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more like Instagram personalities who are mistresses and madams and stuff now, yeah. I can't for the life remember, I've just listened to Florence Gibbons' podcast. She's doing like mini-series, and she had a mistress on. And it was really interesting to hear about it from that side of things and to talk about how she got into it and what her motivations were and stuff. And,
So what does the mistress do? I think like needs a degree.
I think the mistress is like
I can guarantee you can do a degree on it somewhere.
Yeah.
bit like
Like, are they like, is it literally categorised into sub or dom?
so they're dom,
Okay.
and you tend to find the most likely be male subs who would have a mistress.
Oh, right, okay. So,
Not
right,
always,
I see what you mean.
but most of the time.
Okay. Because I think when you think of BDSM, you think of pain.
Yeah.
I think that's the sadomasochism part.
But that is, yeah.
Because a lot of it, there is some people that pleasure pain boundary is very blurred.
Yeah.
So I haven't told you this yet.
Oh, God, here we go.
So I had a discussion about this a few weeks ago with Shirley.
Right, yeah, Shirley.
And he was really drunk at the weekend and he bit me because because obviously I'd said, oh, you know, it's something that I would be interested in, like, sort of exploring a bit more and knowing a bit more about.
And that was what he served up.
And I just remember, like, it was just sheer pain.
Oh no.
And I was like, I was like, yeah, no, let's not do that again. So, yeah.
Oh no.
Amazing.
I mean, there's nibbling.
No, it was a full-on bite.
No.
But it was like, you know, when a hamster bites your thumb and it stays on.
Oh, no. Dude. That was not the assignment.
That was kind of what it was like.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, well.
You know.
Not into the sadomasochism.
Oh, no, give it a go.
No, like, she's grand.
I mean,
Try again.
there are other things to be bitten. Don't just stop at nibbles. Go the full hog.
It wasn't even the nipple, it was just like the bit.
Painful.
A little bit.
Why have I got this vision of him just like hanging off the end of your nose? You know, like when you see his videos and you've been framed with like a snake. Okay.
Have you got some facts for us, Hannah?
Yeah, I've actually got
Come on
loads.
then.
What are my facts? Hang on, I did some research.
Check you out.
Oh, here's a good one.
Well,
So, feminist theory.
yeah.
What one feminist theory is that men reassert their dominance over women by sexually objectifying them. So there was a study done where they put, and I don't know all the details again, but they put men under women bosses, women managers, etc.
Right, yeah.
And what they found was a rise in them sexually objectifying them to try and reassert their dominance over them because they were actually higher.
They just use sex as like a...
Way to batter you back down to where you belong, woman.
Right.
Woman.
There's also something called female-led relationships and female-led dominance. So that is like where stereotypically the man, again, I'm talking in a heterosexual relationship, men generally are seen as the breadwinner. They go out to, you know, although that's very much been dismantled, hopefully. That is how it's been for, you know, since day dot. Female-led relationships are where the female will take control of the finances, and I mean there's different levels of that as well.
Yeah.
But even things like proposing and first dates and first kiss and all that sort of stuff, that is generally thought to, you know.
I know somebody like that.
Do you?
Yeah.
Shout out to them.
Shout out to them. They proposed.
That's very cool, actually.
And
like not just wait for a friggin' leap year.
they are the breadwinner, and they... Yeah.
I mean, surprisingly, I've never proposed to anyone.
Never.
No.
Oh well, I'm shocked.
But yeah, it's
No,
interesting because it was just saying about how those relationships lead to allow men and women to push through gender roles. So like stereotypes. So not all men want to go out to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's not all men want to assert their dominance. Some of them want to, you know, like work on their spirituality, nurture their children, like, and equally not all women want to stay at home, as we know, like so there's that sort of that kind of,
it's like shifting the stereotype.
dynamic just gives a bit more in that relationship to like allow people to grow a bit more. I thought that was really interesting.
I feel like it's unfair in that society seems to have almost embraced the whole woman being the breadwinner, woman being having the more masculine role, but then I feel like there's still a bit of a judgment if a man wants to have more of the typically feminine role, and I just think why if we're going to celebrate women who want to shatter that glass ceiling, you can't then judge a man for wanting to raise his kids, wanting to, do you know what I mean? I just think it's unfair.
I think it's slightly different though in terms of like women when they go out to pursue careers and things and what have you are affected by outside sort of where I feel like they could, like, you could potentially talk about the glass ceiling and things like that, you could potentially be stopped and not have as many opportunities as a man in that sort of a white straight man, I guess. I'm not trying to victimise anybody. I am. But so women are obviously more pushed and celebrated doing that, whereas a man won't lose any of their opportunities in the outside world because so I think it's more of like an opinion thing. Like, a more of a like,
it's not celebrated.
Don't be shit on blokes who want to stay home and look after their parents. They're allowed to fucking do that if they want. But like, it's not going to affect their privilege.
True, very true.
I think.
Do you think that this kind of level of BDSM, whether you're into it or whether you're not into it, or whether you enjoy part of it or whatever it might be, do you think that's a part of your personality, or do you think that you either are that? So you're a princess.
Yeah.
We've discovered today. Do you think you will always be a princess with every relationship because that's part of your personality, or do you think that would change per relationship?
No, I think it's part of your personality because I wasn't that role with one relationship and it just didn't work.
What do you think?
So for me, because I switch, I'm probably more likely, although having said that, when I reflect on my past relationships, I have probably been quite submissive.
So do you think it's like an identity thing?
Like in the bedroom, although I've had like the last couple of years have been a big change personality wise and just in general growth, so I think it's probably a bit different. But it's different because I'm single as a Pringle.
Yeah.
Ready to...
Single Pringle, ready to mingle.
So masochism.
My question would be, I guess, if you met somebody, so Laura, if you met somebody who was also submissive in the bedroom, like, do you think that just couldn't work full stop? So I'm just thinking if there's somebody out there, maybe they're in a relationship already and they're listening and they're thinking, oh, well, you know, I actually am quite submissive, but so is my partner, or I'm really dominant, but I like to be dominant, my partner's dominant. Like, how would you make that work?
It would be a case of trial and error, really, because you'd have to, like...
Do you think, but you think it's just it's personality, you think it's not going to work, I can give it up.
Like, I would have to be really, really into the person to consider, like, because it wouldn't be how I would naturally behave.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think it's more like personality based and you can, I guess what I'm trying to get to is, do you think you can kind of have sexual compatibility with somebody?
Oh God,
in terms of like dominance?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think ultimately, like, if you're both submissive and you haven't talked about it and you haven't communicated, your sex life's going to be one son at one side of the room, one son at the other, both of you waiting to do something.
Yeah.
Like that, you know what I mean? If you haven't got that sort of confidence to, not confidence, like that natural pull to act in a certain way that will sort of move the scenario on.
Yeah.
And I think too, dominant people would be
just scrapping.
I know, that's what I'm wondering what too dominant, like if there's anybody out there who's in a purely dominant
want to know
relationship,
about it.
let
I
us
want to
know.
know what it looks like.
How do you manage that? I want to know what it looks
Literally.
like.
No, like
videos out there, Laura, that exist.
I've got one new more. Not of me.
I'm just gonna say
I was like, come on.
It sounds like it's all you.
Not of me.
But yeah, I think, I would be willing, it would depend upon how I felt about the person.
Yeah.
Because we've all been there, haven't we? We've been seeing someone and then you slept with them and thought, like it's no
like a wet lettuce.
Yeah, it's like,
oh no.
Soggy napkin.
Oh no.
I'm just like,
Nah. It's not for me.
no.
Oh well,
And
really
that's
interesting.
okay.
Really
Yeah,
interesting.
exactly.
Have you got any more points to make about dominance, ladies?
I don't think so. I think mine's more like gender role definition than it is like sexual dom and sub.
Yeah.
That's more how you like to live your relationship, including how you flirt, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think I'm quite. Yeah.
It's really interesting. Like I read about this study, another study that a professor at the University of Buffalo.
Oh.
And an expert on women's sexuality, sexual rights, agency and education, just called Lana Bei Cheng. And she did a study in 2017 that basically found that women rated relationships in which they felt subordinate or submissive as less intimate and more tumultuous. In those that they felt dominant, so where they didn't feel dominant, whereas men's ratings didn't vary whether they felt subordinate or dominant. And power, and it sort of came like that power imbalances are generally more problematic for women than they are for men. Because of the 17 relationships included in the study, 15 were reported by women of being domestically violent. because those women were submissive.
Interesting.
It is interesting because it's like, so men don't, again, very generally speaking, men are not, whether they're submissive or dominant in a relationship, they're not as affected by it
In life. Yeah.
Because again, the system is being set up that their outside world, they still have privilege and things that they wouldn't have, whereas it's just another area for women to sort of like defend against sexism and stuff.
Yeah.
If you're in a submissive role. Generally speaking, I know that's not the case for everybody, but just that was in the study. And I just thought that was quite interesting because I was like, Now I think about it, all the relationships, the majority of them that I've been submissive in, were shite.
I'm interested. What was your very first relationship like? Because I think that could potentially shape who you eventually become in terms of this. So your first ever sexual relationship, I don't mean your first like shag when you're like, oh Lord. I mean your first sexual relationship where you first started to discover sex and all the rest of it. Like what was that? Was that a dominant, submissive kind of scenario for either of you?
It was quite equal for me.
Was it?
Yeah.
So you don't think that's got anything to do with it?
Not for me. Like, but there wasn't that fire, there wasn't that.
Yeah.
So maybe, yeah.
What about you?
I was submissive.
Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I wasn't treated very well.
Okay.
And I was like, I think it probably has, in fairness, shaped my default setting.
Yeah.
Or certainly in my 20s and stuff. But yeah, it wasn't the nicest, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're good friends now, so it's all worked out, we'll see. But like, relationship wise, it probably made me just automatically go into that, oh well, this is because when you're 17 you just want to, you have your first boyfriend, you just want to freaking please them and be like, I'll do anything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Don't do that if you're 17.
Don't do that if you're bloody 77.
Yeah. That's true.
Full stop. Please yourself.
Be yourself. Embrace your individuality.
I know we talk about t-shirts all the time, but I genuinely think we should get a t-shirt that says please yourself.
Sell.
Yeah.
Yeah, please yourself. I'd wear it.
Because it could mean anything.
Please yourself on the front.
Could mean
Princess Love Pants on the back.
Please yourself. Or you could be talking to somebody else with please yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
So many things. Get in touch if you think that. If you would buy a please yourself t-shirt.
I would have one in every colour.
No, I wouldn't. I'd only have one in black.
Anything else before I wrap it up?
No, I don't think so. Just like, if you want to be dominant, be dominant. If you want to be submissive, be submissive. If you want to be both, if you want to be neither. If you're asexual, if you are pansexual.
If you identify as a microwave.
If you...
Princess Slut Pants has spoken.
I thought you were going to say Princess Slut Pants out. Fucking mic drop. Just be safe, communicate, talk about it. Be happy.
Be yourself.
Be yourself. Please yourself.
Please yourself and be yourself.
Be yourself and please yourself. That's the vibe that we've got from today.
100%.
And
Don't forget to
always be consensual.
Wank and brush your teeth. Separately.
On that note, see you guys next week on just another group chat.